What's going on, guys? My name is Rajeev Kugan and I don't know why I did that. So the OnePlus Nord guy. Honestly, if I was to give you a one sentence review, the phone took me back to the OnePlus 5T days where I preached day and night, calling it the best flagship device for a not so flagship price. So I know that's a huge statement, but we live in an era where $1,000 phones have been normalized. People are willing to go and spend over $1,500 for a Samsung or an iPhone. Now the price has not been set on a Canadian or US market level, but when you do the conversion, you're looking at roughly $660, which is technically a steal for what's offered in this package. So if you want this phone, you're probably gonna have to go ask your cousin to do you a favor, ship that phone from India or Europe or UK because it's not available in the North American market. Considering they did ship out 50 of these phones, we never know. There could be a Nord 2 on the way. Now the OnePlus Nord comes in two colors, the gray onyx and the blue marble. Now the overall build quality is solid. It visually looks stunning. It visually looks beautiful. Now here's the problem though. It's not glass. You know, you're getting a plastic wrap, but I can assure you that when you hold this device, it looks solid. It feels solid. But hey, as with any budget-friendly phone, there will be shortcomings. And for me, to be honest, in this device, from a build standpoint, it's the wireless charging. And there is no expandable storage. However, they do give you options, which is good. You can get 64 gigabyte, 128, all the way up to 256. So the device does not come with waterproofing certification. There's no IP68, there's no IP67. You know, it's a given. I don't think they'll go through the trouble of adding all these ceilings to a phone at that price range. And they did not cheap out on the actual RAM itself, which is pretty interesting. You can go from 6 gigabyte all the way to 12 gigabytes of RAM. And just like every recent phone out there, there is no 3.5 millimeter audio jack. No idea why people are still asking for that. I don't think we need that. We're in a wireless era. Everything is Bluetooth. I feel like we can get past that. And the last thing here is that there's only one speaker at the bottom, so there's no stereo speaker set up on this phone. Again, a given. I don't expect this to have one of the best speakers like the iPhone 11 Pro. Gets the job done. Don't expect too much from that angle. So one thing that OnePlus did mention is that this phone does not come with out-of-the-box support for North America. What does that mean? Well, from a signal standpoint, the bands are not supportive because they are the European bands. Potentially there'll be weak signals and potentially it might drop down from LTE to 4G to 3G. You know, luckily I had the phone right before I went to my trip to Niagara Falls. So I tested it near the falls. I tested it in the city. Yo, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, what's up?
I was doing a phone test for reviews.
Oh, dude, word.
Yeah, man. Is it clear though?
What is this, an iPhone? It's an iPhone, it's not clear.
It's definitely not an iPhone, it's a OnePlus.
Okay, then it's clear.
I made phone calls, I checked, I browsed the internet. I've had no issues. Oh, and for anyone who has 5G or craves 5G, well, this device is 5G ready. Now let's talk about the display. This phone packs a 6.44 inch, 90 Hz fluid AMOLED screen. And trust me, when you actually scroll through the device, jump through apps, and just use the phone, it gives you a premium feel. They could have gone down to iPhone's level and gave you an LCD screen, but they didn't. They stuck to their flagship killer motive and marketing to give you what you get in a competitive range on a high tier phone while giving you something that's affordable. And lastly, this phone does come with an in-screen fingerprint sensor. I've never been a fan of it. Still haven't been a fan of it. It just always seems like a gimmick to me. But I don't know. I'm, not a fan. People love it though. Glad they put it in because again, it's just part of the lineup. They kind of pack everything you want that you expect from a OnePlus phone. Now, generally to provide such experience, you probably think it would need a high-end chipset. But to be honest, this phone comes with a Snapdragon 765G, which is lower than what's given in the OnePlus 8 series. But again, that's their flagship high-end device. This is a mid-tier. And for what it is, honestly, I don't feel the lag. There was no lag. I don't play games on my phone. So for those who are looking to play PUBG or Call of Duty on their phone, most likely there's going to be a lag, and maybe the more you play, it might slow down. Maybe the 12 gigabyte RAM version could potentially run it well. Not sure. However, it does have enough processing to give you a smooth experience. I felt no lag. I'm jumping through apps. I'm going through different feeds, and it's beautiful. And one of the biggest things that bothers me is that, people go through the extent of making these great phones, and at the end of the day, when it comes to the battery life, it's never the greatest. And usually it's a small battery, which doesn't make any sense. Thankfully, you don't have to worry about that with this phone. They give you a 4,115 milliamp or something like that. Weird number, but over 4,000 power, just so that you can actually have over 5 hours of usage on a full day. Now here's the thing. It does come with a Warp 30T charger. What does that mean? You can charge your device within 1 hour or less than an hour at full speed, because they gave you the Warp technology that they have in their other flagship devices in this unit. Again, they did not cheap out. They're giving you as much as they can. Now let's quickly talk about the software experience before I jump into the biggest unit for me, which is camera. At the end of the day, I don't know how OnePlus does it, but they're able to give you a better, fast and smooth experience compared to Google, who creates the OS. I never get that part, but anyways, Oxygen OS, fully equipped, Android 10, works well, no issues. And for someone who is using the 4XL as a primary driver, that transition is smooth to me because I'm literally using the same navigational gestures to move back and forth. The most interesting and the most exciting part of my reviews is the camera section. Why? Because, apart from being a photographer and a cinematographer and a techie who always switches phones for the camera, they do give you a lot of cameras. They did not cheap out on the cameras. They did not just give you one lens or two lenses and say, you know what? Go spend another $1,000 if you want our flagship device. They said, no, we're going to give you all the cameras you want. But does that mean it's good? Not really. It depends, depends on the lighting situation, depends on what kind of user you are, and it depends if you care for these kind of issues. So pretty much they slapped 4 lenses in the back and they gave you 2 lenses in the front. So pretty much you get a 48 megapixel sensor. The same one they actually pack in their OnePlus 8 Pro, which is crazy. They also give you an 8 megapixel ultra wide sensor. And then they give you a macro camera, which to be honest, we'll get there. And they give you a depth sensor. So pretty much 4 in the back and then 2 in the front. For those selfie lovers, you have a 32 megapixel camera and an ultra wide lens. You guys have no idea how much I miss the Pixel 3 XL's ultra wide lens. I have no idea why they would take it out. I don't know why people market things saying this is the future and then they just take it out. Makes no sense. When it comes to the camera, yeah, they kind of have the actual hardware to back it up, but from a software standpoint, I feel like there is not enough post-processing or even on-the-fly real-time processing when it comes to taking pictures. And yes, I am comparing this to the 4XL and the iPhone 11 Pro because those are my go-to devices, right? So I was able to test the camera in different scenarios. I was able to test the camera in different lighting situations. I tested different modes. To be honest, if I was to give you my nutshell review on just the camera itself, I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. It does well when it can. It does well in great lighting situations, but there are certain times where I'm getting mixed results. So I'm going to use this as an example. I actually walked into an elevator and this elevator is fully lit. But considering this is an indoor environment, I don't know if the phone thought it was too dark and it started doing these weird software enhancements to make sure that the picture is lit and it can be taken. But when I snap, I'm assuming it took the picture, but when I move, it seems like there's some sort of lag or delay and it's causing this blur effect because obviously I moved before it can even take the picture. But even though it already showed me it took the picture. Weird situation because right when I got out of the elevator, which is even more darker situational environment, it took the picture perfectly fine. Again, mixed results, not sure why it's doing that. But I also had a similar experience when it comes to even in a fully lit day. If I'm using the ultra wide, it takes a good picture. If I'm using the regular, it's taking a great picture. The moment I use a 2x, it's giving a weird white, I don't even know what to call it. It's just kind of overexposing just some of the white light areas to a nasty, weird, pale looking look. It's weird. Surprisingly, in the OnePlus community, a lot of people in the Nord thread kind of stated the same thing. They're going through similar issues. So, maybe it's a software update that kind of fixes it, but it's known, it exists. FYI. Now, going back to that macro sensor I spoke about, definitely another flaw. It feels like a gimmick that Samsung did with their 100x space zoom where sounds cool, looks cool, but no one's gonna use it and practically doesn't work. It doesn't look great. That's what that is in this phone. Don't expect too much from it. I tried it a few times. I just got fed up with it. For now, trash. Now, one impressive thing is the video experience. I was able to test the 4K. I was able to test the stabilized footages. I even did a test compared to the iPhone and what you get on the actual OnePlus. To be honest, I was overall impressed with the experience. I did compare the selfie video experience as well. It does have a 4K 60p. This is me testing the front camera. Quality-wise, should be sharp. This is the wider shot, so obviously you see a little bit more of me. It's actually better for probably vlogging. This is the Pixel. It's up there, man. Like for a non-flagship device, it does well overall. But yeah, you know, that's pretty much it, guys. I don't even know how long this video is. I feel like I've been talking forever. But one thing I can tell for sure is that I'm happy OnePlus went back to their roots of being those guys who are considering themselves as a flagship killer. That's how they became who they are right now. So kudos to them for bringing that back to play. And I hope we get some sort of Nord experience. I hope we get maybe a Nord 2. And this is just the beginning. So hope for it, man. That's all I could say. I enjoyed this. It's been a long time. Thank you for tuning in. And if you got this far and listened to me blab along, well, thank you again. And I hope to see you guys soon. Other than that, till next time. Peace.